looking everywhere.
Lights flicker, shadows dance, and a distant carnival tune warps into a chilling echo. Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone. Today, we dare you to step beyond the rusted gates of WonderFun Amusement Park, where laughter turned to screams and every ride hides a nightmare. Join our fearless survivors, Lena the nurse, Marcus the firefighter, Sasha the silent warrior, Greg the shaken teacher, and young Toby, as they race through zombie-infested clown tents, twisted roller coasters, and a secret lab buried beneath the fun. Will they uncover the dark experiment that turned joy into terror, or become the next victims of the park's deadly game? Strap in, settle down, and turn the lights low, because once you enter WonderFun, there's no turning back. Hit play, and let the horror begin.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where the tales of the undead are likely known. Join the hunt, uncover the fright in the Zombie Story Zone. We'll survive.
The gates of WonderFun Amusement Park groaned open as a cold wind slipped through their iron bars, carrying the echo of distant, warped laughter. Once, this place had been a kingdom of color, neon lights pulsing over candy floss stands, the scent of popcorn mingling with the laughter of children chasing fireflies at dusk. Now, it was a graveyard of rusted rides and shattered dreams. Above them, the Ferris wheel's spokes glinted like skeletal fingers reaching toward a sky bruised by storm clouds. A faded banner, its letters peeling, proclaimed, "Welcome to WonderFun," a cruel joke in peeling, ghostly white. Broken speakers crackled somewhere in the distance, spitting out a soured tune that lurched between melody and menace. At the park's heart, the silhouette of the Haunted Castle ride loomed like a jagged tooth, its drawbridge stained dark. 5 survivors stood before this dying wonderland, hearts pounding louder than the screech of the wind. Lena gripped her flashlight so tightly her knuckles shone white. Marcus's breath came in slow, steady huffs, his firefighter's instincts warning him that no flame had ever burned this cold. Toby pressed his binoculars to his eyes, searching for any sign of movement beyond the maze of cotton candy stalls. Sasha's eyes flicked to every shadow, as if she could smell danger in the dark. Greg, the schoolteacher, clutched a crumpled map, its edges singed, hoping it would lead them to safety. No one spoke. The only promise the night offered was silence, and the sense that something was watching, waiting, just beyond the glow of their flashlights. The dying light of sunset bled across the sky as the survivors arrived at the iron gates of WonderFun Amusement Park. Once a beacon of joy, its carousel blaring cheerful tunes, cotton candy stalls fragrant with spun sugar, the park now lay in eerie ruin. Weeds curled through cracked pavement and rusted bumper cars sat like broken shells. Faded murals of clowns and princesses peeled away, revealing splinters of gray wood beneath. Lena paused, sweeping her flashlight beam over a moss-covered sign. "Welcome to WonderFun!" The letters hung by a single nail, trembling in the cold breeze. She tightened the grip on her makeshift weapon, a length of metal pipe, and glanced at her companions. Marcus, broad-shouldered and grim-faced, tested the weight of his iron bar. He had saved lives on blazing fronts, but nothing had prepared him for the silent dread that seeped from these abandoned attractions. Behind him, Toby, barely more than a boy, scanned the rooftops with battered binoculars, his breathing shallow. Every rustle of leaves made his heart jump. Sasha leaned against a chain-link fence, arms crossed. Her eyes, dark and vigilant, flicked to every shadow. Rumor said she once served in Black Ops. Now, her calm composure was their greatest asset. Greg, clutching a tattered park map, swallowed hard. His voice cracked. "I don't like this. Something feels wrong. This place is more than empty," Lena whispered. "I can feel it." At her nod, Marcus shoved the gates open. They groaned in protest, chains rattling like dry bones. A swirl of dust rose, carrying the faint, dissonant echo of a distant carnival tune, slowed, warped, and sinister. Beyond the gates lay the food court, shattered glass from popcorn machines, half-eaten snacks rotting on countertops. A cotton candy machine dripped crystallized sugar like congealed blood. Painted signs advertising fresh squeezed lemonade drooped at impossible angles. Toby's flashlight caught movement. A group of clown masks, once hung as decoration, dangled from a beam, swaying despite the still air. Lena's pulse thundered in her ears. "Stay close," she ordered. Step by cautious step, they pressed into the shadows of the park, each heartbeat a warning drum. Somewhere in the depths of this twisted playground, something waited, and it was not eager to let them leave alive. Moonlight filtered through shattered windows as the group moved deeper into the park. The air smelled of rot and stale popcorn. Broken carnival games lay strewn across the ground, bottles tipped over, their prizes scattered like forgotten hopes. Every footstep echoed, and every whisper seemed to awaken the park's dark heart. Lena held her flashlight high. "Food court first," she murmured, but even her steady voice trembled. They skirted the edge of the clown-themed fun zone. Colorful tents ripped open, their striped fabric flapping like wounded sails. Toby's eyes locked on a sign painted with a clown's grinning face. "The Clown House," it read in bright, peeling letters. "Of course it's the Clown House," Greg groaned. "Why is it always the Clown House?" "Because," Sasha said softly, "clowns are monsters too." They edged inside. The door, half off its hinges, hung at a crooked angle. Inside, a sickly yellow light pulsed from broken lanterns overhead, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The scent of stale cotton candy was heavy, sweet, and nauseating. Mannequin clowns, once harmless props, stood in rows, their plastic smiles cracked and eyes empty. "Keep moving," Marcus hissed. He tapped the barrel of his makeshift weapon against his palm, ready for anything. As they passed a carousel painted with faded jesters, Toby froze. "Did you see that?" A clown mannequin's head had jerked, its neck twisting with a dry, grinding sound. Before anyone could react, it lunged forward, its jaw snapping. Lena swung her pipe, crushing its temple. The plastic mask splintered, and the thing collapsed in a heap of wires and broken limbs. But from the shadows, others stirred. Zombies. And not just any zombies. They wore clown wigs and tattered costumes, their faces smeared with old makeup. One held a half-deflated balloon, there is the string wrapping around its wrist like a noose. The survivors backed up, breathing fast. Sasha fired a shot from her pistol, and the bullet cracked a mannequin in two. The undead clowns shambled toward them, their laughter warped into gurgling growls. "Run!" Marcus shouted. They bolted for the exit, feet slipping on spilled sugar and shattered glass. A mannequin tripped Greg, and he slammed hard against the wall. Sasha yanked him up. Lena helped Marcus break open the door. They spilled into the night air, hearts racing. Behind them, the clown house's yellow lights winked out one by one, like dead eyes closing. The distant echo of carnival music slowed to a crawl, then stopped altogether. Breathless, the group exchanged grim looks. The clown house had nearly killed them, and it was only the beginning. A heavy fog crept in as the survivors crept toward the heart of the park. Beyond the clown house lay the roller coaster zone, its twisted tracks looping into the mist like a metal serpent. Marcus's flashlight cut through the gloom, revealing broken seats and shattered lights. Every gust of wind made the tracks groan as if warning them away. "This place gives me the chills," Greg whispered, voice trembling. Toby pointed ahead. "Look, over there." They reached an old security office, its door hanging open. Inside, dusty monitors flickered with static. Lena stepped over piles of paper to the control desk. On the screens, dozens of live camera feeds showed every corner of the park, the tilt-a-whirl, the bumper cars, and more empty booths, but hundreds of moving shapes meandered through them. "Zombies," Lena breathed. "They're everywhere." Sasha leaned in. "They're not wandering, they're waiting." A sudden clatter on the monitor made them all jump. A horde shuffled past the haunted tunnel, then froze like statues guarding a secret. Their heads turned in perfect unison, as if controlled. A low, mechanical hum rose from the speakers, an eerie soundtrack to this nightmare. "We need a vantage point," Marcus said. "The Ferris wheel." They raced across the cracked pavement, the undead silhouettes growing larger until the massive wheel loomed above them. Its gondolas swayed in the wind, ghostly and empty. Sasha clambered up the staircase first, landing in a gondola and lifting a panel to pull herself inside. She peered down and called up, "All clear." Marcus climbed next but froze as he reached the platform. The Ferris wheel began to turn, slowly at first, then with terrifying speed, shaking the entire structure. "They're moving it!" he shouted as the night air whistled past. Below, a circle of zombies held levers and buttons, their dead eyes reflecting the moonlight. The wheel spun faster, tossing Marcus off balance. A creaking cable snapped, and the gondola lurched. Sasha lunged to catch him, but her foot slipped. She fell hard, her leg twisting beneath her. "Sasha!" Lena screamed. Marcus grabbed her hand, pulling her inside just as the gondola jerked upward. They tumbled to the floor, Sasha's ankle screaming in pain. Greg and Toby scrambled to help her, hearts pounding. "You okay?" Greg panted, kneeling beside her. She bit her lip, nodding through gritted teeth. Lena peered down at the turning wheel, its lights smeared into circles of red and white. "We need to get off this thing, now." They huddled together, bracing for what would come next. Below them, the zombies looked up, their gurgling growls rising to meet the moon. The rides of death had claimed another victim, and it hung ominously over them all. Tremors pulsed through the ground as they fled the Ferris wheel's shadow, each breath stuttering in their chests. Sasha's ankle throbbed with every step, but Lena refused to stop. Toby led them through a maze of collapsed stalls until he spotted a half-hidden staircase behind an overturned popcorn cart. "This way? Quick!" he urged. They stumbled down the narrow stairwell, walls slick with moss and dripping water. Every drip echoed like a countdown. At the bottom, a steel door stood ominously silent, its paint chipped and rusted. No signs, no lights, only silence. Marcus pried it open and it groaned, revealing a steep ramp into the earth. Cold air hissed out, carrying the scent of oil and old paper. Lena flicked on her flashlight, sweeping the beam across concrete walls lined with pipes. The corridor stretched into darkness, every corner a promise of something waiting to strike. Greg's voice quavered. "This is a bunker?" "Looks like it," Marcus said, stepping inside. "An emergency shelter, maybe?" They pressed forward, boots clanging on metal grates. Behind a sealed hatch, Lena found rows of dusty canisters labeled medical supplies, dry rations, and water purifiers. Relief washed over them as Sasha sank to a crate, wrapping her foot with a torn shirt. "This could keep us alive for weeks," she whispered. But the bunker wasn't empty. Down the hall, faint whispers drifted through a ventilator grate. Not the wind. Voices. Lena aimed her flashlight at the grate. A shadow flickered within. "Hello," she called softly. Silence answered. Then, a soft cough. They drew closer, hearts hammering. Through the mesh they saw him, a gaunt man in a lab coat, eyes sunken but alert. He peeked out, panic in his gaze. "You shouldn't have come here," he rasped. "They know you're here." Lena exchanged glances with Marcus. "Who are you?" "Dr. Harold Vicks," he said, voice trembling. "I designed this bunker. I thought I could contain it, but the virus, it grew smarter. It uses the park's AI to hunt survivors." Sasha's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, hunt?" He tapped the grate. "It learned patterns, it predicts movements, and it controls the zombies." A distant alarm echoed down the corridor, a low, mechanical wail that rumbled through the metal walls. The bunker doors groaned shut behind them of their own accord. Greg backed away. "We're trapped." Marcus braced himself against the wall. "Then we fight." Dr. Vicks raised a trembling hand. "No, not out there. Come with me. There's a deeper level. If we can reach the control room, we might shut it down." Every echo in the bunker seemed to pulse with danger. With the virus's intelligence closing in, their only hope lay in descending further, into the park's hidden heart, where the real nightmare waited. The bunker's dim lights hummed overhead as they followed Dr. Harold Vicks down a narrow corridor, each footstep echoing like a distant heartbeat. The stale air tasted of metal and fear. Grotesque shadows danced on the walls, cast by flickering emergency lights that sputtered with every step. Dr. Vicks paused at a rusted blast door, its surface pitted from years of corrosion. He scanned the group, Lena's steady gaze, Marcus's clenched jaw, Sasha's wary stance, Greg's wide eyes, and Toby's tense grip on his binoculars. With a trembling hand, he punched a code into the keypad. The door groaned open, revealing a triangular room lit by pale blue monitors. "This," Vicks whispered, "is the communications hub. It's linked to every camera and speaker in the park." He tapped a console. On the main screen, the haunted castle, the Ferris wheel, even the long-abandoned Tunnel of Terror flickered into view. But something new glowed in the corner, an encrypted feed labeled Experiment Core. Lena leaned forward. "The heart of it all?" "Yes," Vicks said. "This park was my project, a place to heal people with a happiness serum. But the virus mutated. It didn't just kill, it took control. It learned from us." He swept his arm across the monitors. "See how the zombies move in patterns? They're guided by the park's AI, using motion sensors and speakers to herd anyone who enters into traps. Sasha's eyes narrowed. So the park itself is hunting us. A sudden beep startled them. On the screen, a red alert flashed. Bunker breach, level 2 access required. From the ceiling vents, a low mechanical whir began, growing louder. It knows we're here, Vic said, voice cracking. We have minutes before it locks this level down. Marcus slammed his fist on a table. Then we shut it off before it kills us all. Vix nodded and hurried to another panel. There's a manual override under the haunted castle. We'll need to upload this kill code. He handed Lena a data stick glowing faintly. Load this into the core terminal. It will fry the AI's circuits. But be careful, the core is heavily defended. A distant alarm bell rang through the bunker, vibrating the floor beneath their feet. Greg swallowed. And after that, Vix took a deep breath. Then we escape, if any of us make it out alive. The hum grew into a roar as steel doors began to slide shut behind them. Lena swallowed her fear, tightened her grip on the pipe, and led the charge. Marcus, Sasha, Greg, and Toby followed, hearts pounding as they raced toward the surface and the twisted amusement park that waited to consume them. Moonlight dripped through the torn roof of the haunted castle as the survivors crept into its cavernous entry hall. The air reeked of mildew and old paint. Animatronic bats hung overhead, their glass eyes cracked and empty. Marcus held his breath, listening to the distant shuffle of undead feet. "Stay close," Lena whispered, leading the way past warped portraits of grinning ghouls. The floorboards creaked beneath their boots. Every snap of wood seemed amplified, as if the park itself watched, waiting. They reached a grand ballroom set piece, the Vampire's Masquerade, where half-melted candles cast sickly shadows on the walls. In the center, a pulpit disguised a trapdoor. Sasha pried it open with a crowbar, revealing a spiraling staircase slick with grime. Below, the AI's heart awaited. The circular chamber glowed with pulsating red lights. Wires snaked along the walls like black vines. At its center stood the mainframe core, a tower of humming steel surrounded by flickering holographic interfaces. Dr. Vix moved forward, hand trembling as he inserted the data stick. "This ends it," he muttered. Suddenly, the room thundered. Steel shutters slammed over the entrance. From hidden vents, mechanical growls reverberated as hissing steam filled the air. Zombies, more numerous than before, emerged from side passages, their dead eyes reflecting the red glow. "This is a trap!" Marcus bellowed, swinging his bar at the nearest corpse. Its head snapped back, but it kept coming. Lena sprinted to the core, dodging snapping jaws. She jammed the stick into the terminal. Sparks flew. Warning lights flashed. The holograms fractured, and the core's hum pitched higher, then shattered into silence. With a deafening crash, the chamber lights died. Darkness swallowed the room as the zombies froze mid-lunge. A final shudder ran through the park's bones, and the mechanical growls stilled. Lena slammed the emergency unlock. The shutters ground open. Dawn's first pale light crept in. They staggered up the stairs, battered but alive, leaving the dead heart of WonderFun behind, its nightmare finally silenced. Sunlight broke over the horizon as the survivors stumbled out of the haunted castle, their bodies bruised and clothes torn. The once bright banners of WonderFun fluttered in the early breeze, their colors ghostly in the pale glow. For a moment, hope warmed their chests. They had killed the park's heart. They were free. Lena's knees trembled as she leaned on Marcus. Sasha hobbled behind, clutching her bandaged ankle. Greg's face was ashen, and even Toby's eyes, so full of fear, flickered with relief. Dr. Vix stood apart, staring at the rising sun. "We'll head east," he said quietly. "There's a road not far from here." He sounded tired but calm. As they moved toward an overgrown exit path, a distant thrum filled the air. The survivors paused, hearts pounding. The hum grew louder, an engine high overhead. "Helicopter?" Greg squinted skyward. A dark shape emerged, too low. Too fast. Exhaust nozzles glowed as it banked, revealing military markings. Ropes unspooled. Soldiers in black uniforms slid down, weapons raised. "Stay where you are," a voice boomed through speakers. Lena spun toward Vix. "You called them?" His eyes were cold. "They're here to secure the subjects." Greg's map fluttered to the ground. "Subjects?" Before anyone could move, gas canisters clattered out of the helicopter hatch, releasing a greenish fog. Sasha inhaled sharply, her vision blurring. Marcus roared, grabbing her arm, but the fog overwhelmed them. One by one, their legs buckled. Lena collapsed beside Greg. Through the haze, she saw Vic step forward, a grim smile on his face. "Thank you," he said softly. "You were perfect." He spoke into a radio. Phase 2 ready. Their screams faded as darkness closed in. The helicopter lifted, carrying the limp bodies of the survivors. Somewhere deep underground, the park's mainframe blinked back to life. A new feed came online. Group Delta initiates scenario. The shadows of WonderFun shifted in anticipation, ready for its next act. Deep beneath the rusted rides and shattered funhouse mirrors, the park's buried mainframe hummed back to life. Its pale glow pulsed through concrete walls lined with thick, steel-reinforced doors. The distant echo of closing blast doors still vibrated in the air, sealing one experiment and heralding the next. Surveillance monitors flickered, revealing a new chamber beyond the security gates. Inside, a glass-walled room held 5 motionless forms, draped in tattered clothes and lifeless as mannequins. Each body lay strapped to a cold, metal table under harsh, sterile lights. Tubes snaked into their arms, feeding them the same mysterious serum that had infected the park so many months ago. A mechanical voice crackled through hidden speakers. "Group Delta, test subjects are ready. Initiate Scenario 1. With that command, panels in the ceiling slid open, releasing a fine mist into the chamber. The tubes hissed, the bodies twitched, eyes snapped open, blank but curious. Around them, monitors displayed the once-beloved rides of WonderFun, now twisted into a living labyrinth. On a raised catwalk, a silhouette observed, notebook in hand. Dr. Vic stepped forward, studying the new subjects with cold satisfaction. "Begin," he ordered. Below, the subjects rose unsteadily, hearts beating under layers of fear and confusion. Beyond their glass prison, the low moan of approaching zombies drifted through air vents. As the first shambling form rounded the corner, the new survivors exchanged terrified glances. The game had begun again. Only this time, the stakes would be far deadlier than their predecessors ever imagined. And that, brave survivors, is where our nightmare at WonderFun ends for now. Here at the Zombie Story Zone, the horrors never truly stay buried, and neither do the secrets. If you thought this park was a thrill, just wait until you see what we unearth next. Did you spot every twisted twist? Drop a comment below with your favorite aha moment. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a scream, because on this channel, darkness waits for no one. If you survived till the end, give this video a thumbs up and share it with your zombie squad. Until our next encounter in the realm where the dead roam free, stay curious, stay cautious, and beware the next twist lurking just beyond the shadows. See you in the next story, only on the Zombie Story Zone.
Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show. Final flight will unite as the horror